Hey everybody, welcome back to video number 2 in this series on Grand Arena counters. In case you missed the first video, what this is a video to go along with a Discord server. So there's this Grand Arena Territory Wars counters Discord server. You can find the link in the video description. That is extremely awesome. You can go there, it's got a bot where you can type in what team you want to counter, and it's going to give you an entire list of teams that work well against the team you're searching for. You'll also find some of these videos that are just going to showcase some of these teams so you can get a little bit better idea of what they look like and how to run them. First we had Revan. Up next is another arena team that consists of a group of rebels in CLS, Chewie, Han, C-3PO, and commonly R2-D2. And who else for our first counter but Rex, the lead that never dies. So when you're modding this team, there's a couple things you want to keep in mind. First, you want to make sure that Rex goes first and then Thrawn, and that is because Han is going to stun somebody. So in this case, it's Thrawn. Rex can cleanse him. If Thrawn's going before Rex, you run into trouble there. He's going to grant turn meter, but he's not granting a full turn or anything like that. And then you want to make sure, I say they go first. This team is going to get 7.5% turn meter for each critical hit for everybody except Rex, who gets 15% turn meter. So you're going to get a couple crits from Han and Chewie at the beginning. So you can build that in. With your first turn with Thrawn, you're going to fracture Chewie. And the reason you're going to do this is, first off, to prevent all of his assists, which are going to do a lot of damage. But second off, to prevent him from getting stealth. That's the biggest reason that R2 is a pain in some of these teams, is that he gives Chewie stealth, and then you can't target him. And as we all know, Chewie does some massive damage with all of his assists, and all of these basics will expose thanks to C-3PO. So you get massive damage on all these attacks. With Chewie out of the way, this becomes a fairly easy match. Wampa does huge damage to Rebels, so he can get through all of these guys very easily. The core of this team is Rex, Thrawn, and Wampa. Chirrut and Baze make a great addition because you get a tank, and then you also get some tenacity up from Chirrut. You can get that from Rex, but if Rex happens to be stunned at the very beginning, then you don't get that tenacity up right away. If that's the case, then Chirrut can provide that right off the bat for anybody who is not debuffed. There's a lot of other characters that would fit into those last two spots. It really doesn't actually have to be Wampa either, but he does such big damage to Rebels that it makes it a lot easier. So you've got a little bit of flexibility. Overall, the team's not too difficult to run. On to the Nightsisters, which you're going to see in probably almost every video because they seem to counter everything. In this case, I've chosen Acolyte to be kind of my 5th member. I've always got that same core 4, and then that 5th slot will kind of rotate. I chose that because there's only one big AoE character here that we're facing, and that is Chewie. Once Chewie is down, I know that Acolyte and Zombie can pretty much take the rest of the team by themselves. There's nobody to remove stealth from Acolyte or to do AoE damage. It turns out in this match I wasn't going to need that anyways. It wasn't that close, but that's why I chose Acolyte when I was running this. This is one of my matches from a previous Grand Arena. Anybody who's playing close attention, which is probably nobody, might recognize that. But again, the strategy is kind of similar to last time. You're going to go after Chewie first. Once you get rid of Chewie, the match becomes pretty simple. Nightsisters have a ton of sustainability because of all of the revives. One important thing that I want to mention that already happened back towards the beginning, but make sure not to cleanse all of those buffs off the Rebels until R2 has stealth. As I mentioned on the previous team, R2 giving stealth to Chewie makes it much harder to take Chewie out, makes the team much more difficult. You remove guard once Chewie's gone, so everybody else falls a little bit easier. But that's kind of a key thing, is to use Ventress's AoE to get rid of that stealth, and you'll get rid of pretty much the entire problem that R2 presents. I've mentioned this in previous Nightsister videos, but I'm going to mention it again. When you're running Nightsisters, don't be afraid to die. You saw a lot of deaths on here. They just get stronger when members go down. So 1 or 2 members dying, not a problem whatsoever. The third team we've got here is a Jedi Training Ray team. This is full resistance. This is from another member of the Discord server that I mentioned, so big thanks to him for getting this. There are a couple different ways to run this. I'm actually not sure of the optimal strategy, but what he does here is he removes turn meter from R2. That's to prevent that stealth that I've talked about, so that we can target Chewie and get Chewie down quickly. In this team, he has Holdo. It really doesn't have to be her. He actually kind of misplays her right here. He uses the AoE daze, which was kind of uncalled for because some of these characters can't be dazed, and then we just got a bunch of counters that ended up destroying Holdo. So that was a little bit of a misplay. He mentioned that on the server, but this team is good enough that it didn't matter. One thing to keep in mind if you're running a Jedi Training Ray team against anybody with Chewie is that characters that are guarded cannot be critically hit. And critical hits are huge here because we really want, not only do they do big damage, but they will generate exposes, which will do more damage, and then generate turn meter as well. So I actually would have played this a little bit differently and not going after Han over there until we had Chewie down. Once Chewie's down, then it becomes a lot easier. See, none of these attacks are going to be able to critically hit. R2 is not able to stun. That completely changes once Chewie's out of the picture. Then we'll get more critical hits. You'll be able to stun both Luke and Han, and they will go down pretty quick. Particularly Han, he's not very beefy at all. Get Chewie out of the way, and the rest of the team becomes so much easier. I know I've said that a bunch of times, but it's really a key point. You almost always want to target Chewie, at least with the damage attacks. You want to target Chewie right away and get him down as quick as possible. He isn't being used in this particular team, but Resistance Trooper is a great weapon here. He gains a lot of turn meter on any of these exposes, and then he does have a Dispel, so he can get rid of translation. He can get rid of the buffs that Han spreads, so he's very helpful in this team as an alternative. Blazing through this video, one last team I want to show is a Jedi team. It's a Bastila lead, which will be very helpful for those of you that do not have Revan in particular. But I want to talk about the speeds here at the beginning. Jedi will gain 15% turn meter, so they don't necessarily need to be faster. But I do have a specific turn order that I want on this team. First off, you want Hermit Yoda to be the fastest so that he can dispel whoever Han stuns. And once Han does that stun, Old Ben is going to gain 15% turn meter. You want him to be the next fastest, or he can even be faster than Hermit Yoda after that. So because what he's going to do is he's going to reduce turn meter and give ability block to these rebels. The ability block in particular on R2 is key because we have to get Chewie down before R2 stealths him. We don't have any way to cleanse that stealth here. And we don't have any way to prevent Chewie from gaining stealth other than stopping R2. So that's why Old Ben is kind of key in here. There are other ways to do it, but remember that the rebels get turn meter whenever they're hit. So a few hits in, and the entire turn order has been scrambled, and you don't want R2 jumping ahead too soon and giving stealth before Old Ben has a chance to remove his turn meter and ability block him. Usually just one of those two is enough, as long as he gets one of those down. There are other ways to do it, but you have to make sure Chewie goes down first. That's why I've got Yoda in here. I tried it using Ahsoka, and the reason I did that is so I could keep Yoda on my Revan team, because I do have Revan, and that way in Grand Arena I could run two Jedi team here and use them as a counter against a team like this. There was a little bit of RNG with that. I did get Ahsoka to win once, but I did have 2 battles that I actually lost. One of those was because R2 resisted the ability block, and the other he resisted the turn meter reduction, plus I had to put Master's Training on Bastila because she was the one that was stunned, and she doesn't hit as hard. So it worked very very well with Yoda because he's got so much offense that he can make up for anything like that goes wrong. Once you get Chewie down, it's very easy. We've got all this protection up from the Bastille lead that the rebels aren't going to shoot through it very easily. Old Ben can taunt twice, and even if he dies, he just makes everybody else stronger, so that's not a big deal. So a great team to run there if you don't have Revan and are trying to beat these powerful rebel teams. So there you have it. There are 4 teams that can beat one of the top rebel squads out there. And you've also got teams like Revan and Traya that can win as well. I think there are some more out there. I don't think we have them all. There were some other teams that I played around with that I just couldn't quite get there. A First Order team I tried messing with because both Kylos are almost unkillable against the Rebels because all those exposes just give them protection. They just heal them back up. So they are great, but there wasn't enough First Order pieces to put around them, and I couldn't keep taunt on Kylo, so that one didn't quite work. We messed around with some Phoenix teams because they are also healed by debuffs and get protection up with each hit, so I thought that might work, but we couldn't quite get anything there. I still think there are some more out there, so if you can find some others, go to that Discord server. Again, the link is in the description. Discuss them with everybody. And let's see if we can find some more. But there are some good ones for now. You know I'll be back with some more videos, so please leave some comments either here on YouTube or on the Discord server about what teams you want to face next. What are the teams that you're having the most problems with that you want to see some more counters to so that you can beat them better in either Territory Wars or Grand Arena. So leave that feedback and we'll get some more videos out for you. Thank you all once again. You guys have all been amazing.